Proper Punters, brought to you by CrossBet. Are you ready to level up your punting game?
All right. Welcome back to another week of Proper Punters. I'm here with Tom Forward. How are we, buddy?
Good, mate. How are you?
Mate, a lot better than last week. We couldn't make it. That flu that's getting around is horrific.
Yeah.
I was bedridden from at least 3 or 4 days and did a little bit of a sauna and got myself slowly back, and I ended up betting on the Saturday, Sunday and had a good day. I'll tell you, one of the greatest recipes for getting better is having a winning weekend. Yeah. Better than Codral, beats it all. Yeah, back in the winner is, I reckon, the best medicine. But we were just having a look here, and I think we've got one more month of this disgraceful racing until, you know what, the month goes, and then you hit August 10, and I think you got the Missile Stakes, and then we blink, and it's Melbourne Cup Day.
Yeah.
So I find it's this time of year we've got to tread carefully. Wet tracks still scare the shit out of me. I'm trying to bet down on the wet tracks, or if not bet at all.
Yeah.
How are you finding it?
Yeah, it's a weird one at the moment. Yeah, these heavy tracks I'm sort of avoiding. It'll start to become an interesting time when sort of you get the up and running fit types.
Yeah.
And you've got the classy horses that are coming back, resuming. Which angles do you want to take? The class prevails or the fitness prevails, I guess. So it's going to be interesting.
It's a funny one. But then, like last Sunday, I was tipping in the Discord, and I was at Grafton, and it was a heavy track, but the rail was out 5.5 meters, and it was just a highway. You just put a pen through 3/4 of the field, back the first 2 or 3 runners, and I think I backed about 5 winners there. Like, it was outstanding. Yeah. So, look, you can find value. I think you just got to be very careful. Try not to overbet and look for them. And it's easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah. But
look, we'll go through the quaddie legs at Randwick. Let's start off with how you think bias will be. I was thinking it's the fast lanes tend to be, or the start of the fast lanes are rail 8. And probably out to about 8 to 10 lanes, and we're in the 9 meters. Are you predicting on pace on fence?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought without any rain coming on race day, I think drying track, you want to be sort of up and in, sort of leading outside the lead box seat. They'll all be good positions, I think.
Yeah.
Won't want to be too far back in this rail.
It's one thing I've found as well this time of year. You can't, I think when it's dry, a lot of the time you can get it, like the prehistoric data tends to be right. The certain rail positions race pretty similar each time, where I think this time of year, and probably from last month and this month, things change as you go from wet to dry. Definitely, I wouldn't rubber stamp anything until you see it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a couple of years ago, rails got out at Randwick out to like 12, and you thought, they're going to be hard fence. First race, they're out to the outside rail, and that's where they stayed all day. So you don't really know what jockeys are going to do.
Exactly. Well, it's a funny thing as well. I think a lot of the tracks, because a lot of them seem to camber, so your best part of the track is always going to be on that far outside fence. But if in the rail true 4, 5, 6 meters, you burn too much gas getting out there. Nash did try it, I think, last weekend, and ended up running third on third. Yeah,
Queen Elizabeth when he won.
But I know when it does get right out, you can get there and you can swing out there, and you do find that real fast ground. So I'd be keeping an eye on it. I'm predicting from what I've seen that it's going to be I would think on pace and on fence, but time will tell, and we'll just see if any rain comes. But at this point, there's not much forecasted, so hopefully we can maybe get to a 6.
Yeah, 6 would be good. I'd be more confident betting on a 6 than an 8.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's kick off race 7. How does the pace look here?
Very tricky race. I've got an above average tempo. It'll be an interesting sort of who wants to take control. I think Ha with Nash on from a wide gate will want to spear across, inject some speed. Space Age led last start, won really well. I don't know if they'll want to get control here or take a sit and just not burn too much petrol. So that's kind of how I saw the speed. Nails Murphy will want to just get a soft run from a low draw, just in behind him. But tricky race. Didn't know which way to look. I thought if we're predicting sort of a fence day or an on-pace day, often with these pattern days, it's typically more lane bias than position bias. I think a fence bias could develop, and Nails Murphy could get a nice run if they go too quick up front.
One.
Yeah. Nana's Wish suited back to 1600. Ha Ha Ha, Nash on, looks to lead. Like, that's always a tough commodity to sort of lay or be against. And Space Age won well last start, can win again.
Okay, yeah.
How'd you find it?
Oh, look, not a race I'm super enthused to be in, but I'm a little bit the same as you. I liked the winner Space Age last start. I like how he rolled forward. He was tough. I like how he sprinted that last 100 and was really strong on the line. I had him top pick. If he can get across, I think little Zach Waddick takes the claim, so he gets a little bit of weight off, which is good. Gets down to 56. I think he'll be scrubbing his ears early to get over. And if he can get in there without doing too much work, I think this is a horse that... Obviously, it's pretty lightly raced in Australia and is still on the up.
Yeah, definitely.
And could easily keep improving. I like these European horses coming over, and especially in their second prep. They seem to improve and improve and improve. And one thing that Kieran Maher seems to be really good at is getting horses to continue to improve throughout the prep.
Yeah, he's very good when they go deep in prep.
100%. And I would, the two runners, and probably Nels Murphy's the other one I was a little bit interested in. But for me, I'd be I'm backing Space Age each way.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And potentially having something small on the stable went for barrier 1 if the track is playing the way that we predict and being on the inside.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we move along to race 8 over 1,400 meters. How do we see pace here?
Good level of speed. Don't have my speed map on me.
Yeah, I think Russian Ronnie is probably the one that I thought would find the front.
Yeah.
Felix Majestic probably roll forward. To Testa Silence.
Testa Silence. I had it up there. I sort of saw the race tempo and didn't look too much into my map because it's another race where I think there'll be a couple that want to take control.
Yeah.
And they're typically not the races I'm confident betting in, where you've kind of got to predict who's going to find control.
Yeah, you love finding a race where you've got a little bit of a loose lead.
Yeah, I like a pretty straightforward map. So when the map looks a bit cloudy, I tend to find like the low draws or something that I know will settle in a
positive position. Yeah,
correct.
I thought Russian Ronnie would potentially find the front. Amy McLucas, I think she's got a horses travel for her when she does roll forward. Yeah. And Gay, what were your thoughts on the race?
I thought Testados Islands looked the top pick. Blinkers on, Nash on. Market hasn't missed it. I was $3.50 my rated price, so when I saw the market was around the same price. Didn't see any value. I found Bojangles was strong through the line last start from a 6-week break over 1,200 metres. Hit the line really well. Up to 1,400 metres is only positive, and I wanted to make him a good result.
Yep.
And then Substantial, the Snowden horse at $18. Dropped back in grade from a listed race, can improve from a low draw and run a sneaky race, I think, back in grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going with the 2-horse play here. I'm going with Russian Ronnie because I do think you can find the front, I think, from barrier 5. I love Gay Waterhouse horses up in trip, second up. She's got a real good knack of doing it. He's won in the heavy, so that's good if the track does stay quite wet. And I think around the $7 mark, it's probably a little bit of value. And I think Nash's horse here tested the Silence. Blinkers back on. I thought the second was good the other day. It was only a bob of the heads with him getting beat. Yeah. I thought they were the top 2 for mine. I think he rolls forward with the blinkers on. I think it's going to be a day when Nash has a really big day.
Yeah.
You look through the jockey ranks, other than like Chad Schofield, Jason Collett. I think Sammy's got a few rides at Hippo. We're certainly missing a couple of the top jocks, Regan.
I think Nash said he was going to take a holiday this time of the year, but with J-Mac out, he was hungry to win the...
And he was certainly on last weekend. You could see. And when Nash is on, he's on. And you want to be with him. And I think he really wants to rubber stamp himself for this.
He wants to, but then it's not long till he cops a suspension and he's out for 2 weeks for scrubbing the ears off one.
This does happen. Yeah. Hopefully you're on the right end of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move along to race 9. We've got the short price favourite in Bear on the Loose at even money.
Yeah.
How do you see the pace?
Yeah, I saw the speed pretty quick. I thought Bear on the Loose will want to be up there again. Didn't lead last start, but Nash was with typical Gay Waterhouse runners, they want to be up on speed. They could roll quick, large field, but with 4 emergencies, I think comes down to 14 runners after emergencies.
Yep.
So they'll inject some tempo, I think. $2 is a bit crazy, I think, for the favourite. It was a suitable day at Rose Hill to be up on speed.
Definitely.
That day. Kicked off the turn and sort of held them all. Goes from Rose Hill to Randwick, which is a slight negative. I don't always find that the form holds up going to different tracks, just because I think they both play completely different to each other. And it doesn't rise in distance; it's staying at the same distance. Which
the one thing I would say though is, not always, but a lot of the time, Rose Hill's known to be a less testing track than what Randwick is.
Yeah.
So as much as it's staying at 1800, it's kind of like, they say a mile at Randwick's like 2,000 metres.
Yeah.
So I think the 1800 at Randwick's it's somewhat similar. So I think even though it's not an extra 200, it's going to probably feel a little bit like an extra 200.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Especially when if the sprint does go on, there is a little bit of pace here. I think it will be run a lot more testing this race.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where he does get it. Obviously, he's going to have to just push forward from barrier 14, but whether he finds the front or he finds a position when that one back, something like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't go away from him. I was impressed with his win.
Backed off the map too. I think it was like 5s into 350.
Yeah, I think he started 2 to 1, $3.
Yeah.
He was 5s in. They certainly didn't miss him. It was one of those just beautiful trials where he just had his ears absolutely scrubbed off in the trial over 1200, and you just thought, fuck, is this?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It didn't look gone or anything, but it certainly wasn't one for the trial pervs to sit there and go, oh, I can't wait to be on this, and you're sitting there going into it.
It was dour, but then they must have seen it in the yard and just piled it.
Her horses, it's been a stable a while ago that I could not. You'd see them and they were scrubbed off, and you just thought, fuck, how's this going to win?
Yeah.
This looks hopeless. It looks flat to the boards. But then it goes to race day and they go like that and they just keep running through brick walls.
Yeah.
So I've changed the way in which I look at that stable a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was impressed with the win. I thought it was tough. Concede the points about the distance. Nash is certainly going to have a little bit of work to do, but I think these are the sort of horses that they need riding, and Nash is your man.
Yeah.
Taking evens on the wet tracks, never ideal, but I think it looks like it could be an up-and-coming horse.
What do you think the market will do? Do you think you'll get 220, 230 on Saturday, or do you think they'll zone in on it? I don't know what other runner they sort of bet around it, to be honest. That's the thing, right?
Mate, it's hard to know, and it's all going to come down to what the big boys think late.
Yeah.
If they want to be on it, it will probably blow for a bit and then start really short.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, it will get right out.
Yeah.
If they like it, yeah, it's a funny one. Certainly a funny one. I'm with the favourite. I think it wins. Are you looking at anything else in the race?
Nothing on. It's either sort of $2.40 bear on the loose, I'll play. Otherwise, it's probably just through to the keeper for me. I couldn't really zone in on a clear danger. There's a few that on their peak figures could win, but their recent form suggests that's beyond them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's me right there. Let's move on to the next race. We finish off with the 1,000-metre race at Randwick, and the 1,000-metre shoot, a lot of people look at, there's a lot of pace on and they look to swoopers, but the 1,000-metre race can predominantly be a very leader bias race, because it's just right, that shoot one turn and they just keep rolling.
You can sit wide at the Randwick 1,000 and still kick off that, because it's just, it's almost like a straight.
It's almost like a straight.
It's not a sharp turn.
It's not a sharp turn as well out of that shoot.
Yeah.
How do you see the pace in this race?
At this stage, there's stacks of speed in the race. I know Dipsy's dual accepted at Caulfield. If that comes out, takes a little bit of speed out.
Yep.
But otherwise, I've got a lot of horses that will want to control. Get Along will want to be up there. South of India will want to be up there. I think the Escape will want to be up there as well. So there's just stacks on stacks of speed. And then there's some resuming horses out the back. They may get their legs just run off their feet in these conditions. So I think while there's plenty of speed, you immediately want to look to sort of run on horses, but I think that's not the case with this race. I think one of the fit on-pace horses will be able to give a kick. I found little niggles for all horses. Dipsy back to 1,000 after a hot 1,100 fresh run.
Yep.
I thought that wasn't a right setup coming back. Get Along was a pass mark in Melbourne. It was suited to be up on speed. Now comes up to Sydney. Now gets a wet track, which I'm not sure it will appreciate. South of India was really nice. Good, strong win at Scone. Has to come into town now and absorb more pressure, but Nash on.
And has trialled well between races.
Yeah, has had a jump out, a trial between races, which suits. And then the Escape likes to lead, comes back in distance, which is a small tick for the Paul Perry stable. They go well coming back in distance, up in grade, and will have to absorb pressure again. So I was kind of leading to South of India with Nash on, but and the trial, but not a race I wanted to play too heavily in.
Yeah, look, it's going to be definitely, we've got to see if there are scratchings of what comes out and where it all sits. I've got South of India on top. I just think this horse is airborne. There was a lot of pace in that race at Scone, and it was able to kick off a fast tempo.
Yeah.
And I love a horse that can do it.
Yeah.
I like the trial between runs. He's only been beaten the one start. He's won his last 4. He's absolutely flying, this horse. Trial between runs really good. On the heavy, and Nash. If Nash has a shocker, I'll end up probably eating baked beans for dinner if I do end up betting on this card.
Yeah.
I've got him on top. I actually didn't mind Dipsy Doodle in this race.
Yeah.
Because I do think if they are early and they all start, they will go extremely hard. And I think he can sit close enough. Yes, over 1,000. He should just sit. He's not going to be right at the back, but he'll sit just behind. And I think it's the horse that just gets that little creep on that might be the one.
Yeah.
And if they are then maybe getting off the fence late in the day or could overcook it, he could get that right run.
Yeah.
And he did trial so nice before the before the first up run, so I could definitely be on both of them, but I do have South of India on top. So
yeah, beautiful.
Do you want to go through your quaddie? You've done a little quaddie for us.
Yeah, we looked at Randwick. There's no listed racing on, so had to go to Randwick. Quaddie numbers: race 7, Ha Ha Ha, Space Age, Nails Murphy, and Casino Kid as a little bit of a blowout. Race 8, War Eternal, Substantial, Testator Silence, and Bojangles. Race 9, I'm going to stand out the favourite Bear on the Loose. I think at $2 with Nash on, the only one I sort of want to have in my quaddie. And then race 10, Memoria, Dipsy Doodle, South of India, and the Escape. So not really sure how much that'll add up to for $50 on and have some fun on a Saturday kind of thing.
Very nice, thank you. We'll be cheering together.
Yeah.
We'll go into our best bets. You want to go first?
Yeah.
Lead us in.
Randwick race 5, I'm in to win. Like we spoke earlier about the predicted track pattern, I think being up on speed will be good. And this horse will be suited, stepping up to the 1800. It was all strung up last start. It built its speed slowly, but it hit the line strongly. That tells me like that's a horse that will appreciate the rise in distance. So I'm going to make that one of the better bets of the day. And then Caulfield race 4, Rezone. On the up, this horse, lightly raced Dundee. Raced well at the 2,000 metres last start, and I think if it can reproduce that run, looks the one to beat.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, Tommy. I am going to kick off at Randwick, and I'm staying with Gay Waterhouse runner Wanarua, I believe it's pronounced. Loved its win on debut. I think, like I spoke about before, I think Gay Waterhouse horses up in trip, always a massive positive. I think it can find the front. Hippo goes aboard. He trolled it twice before the wins. I think it'll be pretty hard to beat. That should hopefully kick us off with a winner. We move on to race 2, number 7, Ballet d'Esprit. I love this horse's win the other day. The format of the race has been franked today with, I think, the horses running in just behind. We're actually all really unlucky in a race at Hawkesbury today. I move forward to race 9, number 9, Bear on the Loose. Very impressive win last start. Nash will be rolling forward, and I think the even money looks a steal. And I go to race 10, number 8, South of India. This horse's last 2 wins have been phenomenal. Last one at Scone, kicking off a hard speed, and has trialled really well in between runs. I think at the each way basis, I think it could finish us off hopefully with a winner. BTFU top 2. I'm going with race 2, number 7, Ballet d'Esprit. And what have you got for us, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Randwick race 5. I'm in to win.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. I think he could just lead all the way. I'm in to win.
Hope so. The early market's 250 out to 3s. They've wanted to come for the Don Dio de Vega from that Bear on the Loose form.
It certainly looks a match race, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I think top 2 in our little top 2 market should be quite good.
Yeah.
And just a little fan of the show, Joe Recep, he's absolutely declaring Spain. So if anyone wants to anchor Spain in the Euros at $2.40, you can all thank Joe Recep. All right, we're just going to have to keep grinding through this winter.
Yeah.
And then before we know it, we're going to be in spring and we'll be building on. And I think we're a little bit in store. I'm pretty excited for this spring.
Beautiful.
All right, Tommy, well, I'll see you next week, and hopefully we've tipped you in a couple of winners. See you guys.
Sounds good. See ya.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.